freaking grand.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, my lips are numb.
Did you see me get to that handhold, Tina?
Oh, I saw the whole thing. Looking good up there, buddy.
Peria Gaucha. Peria Gaucha. Has bendito fuego dentro de mi corazón. Templo de la carne, siempre te adoraré, Peria Gaucho.
Now, your primetime local news leader. Fox 22 News at 10.
Thank you for joining us on this Sunday night for Fox 22 News at 10. I'm Doug Banks. It was an interesting day out today for this area at least. First it started out with rain showers that made commuting a hassle. Then by early afternoon it was perfect outside. And then this evening, at least in Bangor, we had light rain showers. Here to make sense out of all this is Chase Ropenak, who's in now with the first look at our forecast. Chase?
Thank you very much for today. Temperatures pretty close to average here in Bangor with a few showers and rumbles of thunder out there. Low 60s in Bangor for today, 62 to be exact, but a few of us along your coastline for today with the gusty south wind did stay in the mid 50s, upper 50s further north in Millinocket, Holton, and Presque Isle for today, with a few areas into the mid to upper 60s. Sanford at 69 degrees for you this afternoon. But we have a few light showers early on for tonight, but those are getting out of here now. So we're going to see clearing skies throughout the rest of the night, a little bit more cloud cover hanging around the coastline with that front further down to the south. For tomorrow, we'll kind of get the back area low pressure spinning through. So sporadic cloud cover with a few light showers for tomorrow. Just expect a few sprinkles out there. Many of us will stay dry for your Monday with highs near 60 degrees once again, and looks like things will clear out for your Monday night as well. So overnight for tonight, we still got a little bit of cloud cover out there. It's going to decrease towards the early morning hours. Lows for tonight not looking to be as chilly as the past few nights. We'll be hanging out in the low 40s into tomorrow morning.
Good to know, Chase. Thank you for that report. We'll see you later on the broadcast. Folks, first here tonight, a Maine prisoner who walked off a job site in Thomaston last week is behind bars again after being arrested in New Hampshire. The Maine Department of Corrections said that 45-year-olds Brian Day and Candace Fisher were both arrested by the Rochester, New Hampshire Police Department yesterday. Day is a resident of the Bolduc Correctional Facility who is serving a 3.5-year sentence for theft, forgery, and other offenses. He had earned community custody status and was working at a Thomaston job site when he took off. Authorities had been searching for him since Monday. Arrest warrants were issued for Day and Fisher, a New Hampshire woman he was believed to be with. According to the DOC, information from the public led to the arrests. No other details have been released at this time. A hoaxing incident at a Walmart in Brewer forced people to evacuate last night. Information is limited at this time, but a member of the Brewer Police Department confirmed with our reporter on scene last night that a hoaxing incident occurred at the Brewer Walmart last night. When we spoke with them just before 8 o'clock, the scene had been cleared and people were allowed to go back into the store. The department later added that it was a threatening phone call that prompted authorities to respond, and there was no threat to the public. Well, for 40 years, a family in Franklin County has been searching for answers in the disappearance of their daughter. 17-year-old Kimberly Moreau vanished on this day 4 decades ago. As Allison LaPierre reports, Kimberly's family is still hoping for closure.
May 10th, 1986 was the last time 17-year-old Kim Moreau was seen. Police say Kim was last seen driving with friends. She was dropped off a half-mile from her home in Jay and has never been seen again.
We've gone way too long without Kim and missed so much in our lives, and all we're begging for is closure.
Kim's father, Richard Moreau, and 2 sisters, Karen and Diane, have spent most of their lives searching and hanging missing person posters in hopes Kim will come home.
My sister disappeared when I was 23 years old. I'm 63 now. I've been looking for her longer than anybody should have to look for their missing loved one.
Richard wants closure before it's too late.
I don't know how much longer I've got. It'd just be a blessing. So please call, give us that information so we bring it home.
Kim's family hopes to find Kim's remains and properly bury them next to the rest of her deceased family members.
We need somebody to come forward after 40 years and just tell us where she is buried. Then we will turn around, get her home, bury her, take down all the posters, and I'm done.
Last week, her family held a celebration of life at the Holy Cross Cemetery, but Kim's gravestone lies empty.
If nothing else, we know that Kim's watching over us.
Police believe foul play is suspected, but Kim's body was never found. Her family says they will never stop searching for Kim.
That was Allison LaPierre reporting. Now to new details on the shooting of a 14-year-old in Lewiston. We learned a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old are now facing charges. This is the latest in a recent string of violent crime in Maine's second largest city. The most recent shooting happened late Thursday afternoon and left a 14-year-old with a leg wound. Max Williams has a story.
I don't go out at night, period.
Lewiston neighbors shaken up tonight.
Walking home from the store knowing a stray bullet could hit me, and it puts a little fear in my heart. 2 shootings in the span of just 9 days, which police say were all carried out by juveniles. I know that won't solve anything, but I just don't think consequences are severe enough. Lewiston police say a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old are now charged in connection to Thursday's shooting on Avon Street. We tried reaching neighbors nearby.
One neighbor did point out this hole in the front of his apartment. They say police took a bullet out of the wall. Lewiston police also provided an update today on a shooting on Pierce Street last week, saying they have arrested and charged a 16-year-old. They say it's the second time that teenager is being charged in connection to a shooting. We went back to the neighborhood today. That's where we met Chris Matthews.
Do you feel less safe?
Oh yeah, that's why I started carrying this bear spray right here. I hope I never have to use it.
This is being taken seriously at every level of government, and we will be making progress on this issue.
Lewiston Mayor Carl Shaleen saying juvenile crime is unacceptable and is now calling on parents to step up.
Where are the parents? It's a fair question. We are working to provide support to parents.
We tried repeatedly to speak with Lewiston police today, but we were told they could not make any time available. They sent us a statement today saying we have strategically relocated personnel and resources to heighten police visibility and proactively patrol areas of concern.
I know a lot of people here, and it bothers me the amount of gunfire, because eventually somebody's going to get killed.
That was Max Williams reporting. A Maine teenager is back home after spending about 6 months in ICE custody. Allison LaPierre reports.
A warm welcome back to Maine. Olivia Andre was welcomed home last night by friends and family.
I praise Jehovah because I know because of him that I'm back home.
Last November, Andre, her mother, younger sister, and brother were taken into ICE custody. They're all asylum seekers from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The rest of Andre's family was released in March, but she had to stay. Andre's sponsor had to tell her the news over the phone.
On that day, it was very painful for me to inform her that the other part of the family are being released, but they say you have to remain in jail.
But now, 6 months later, Andre is back in Portland.
I'm very happy. I didn't imagine it's going to be like too soon.
Less than a week ago, Congresswoman Shelley Pingree traveled to Texas with other lawmakers for an oversight visit to the facility Andre was being held in. Pingree was lobbying for Andre's release. Then just hours after the visit, Pingree says a federal judge ordered Andre's release from the facility.
The Congresswoman bring on Tuesday, and then she actually promised me. I'm very glad.
I'm glad I could keep my promise.
Yes.
Andre is grateful to have her freedom back, but she hopes the same can be true for others still in custody.
Really praying that everybody's being released and go back to their home and their family, because it's not a place that people can be there.
That was Allison LaPierre reporting. Now, following Andre's release, our Portland media partner reached out to the Department of Homeland Security, asking if they plan to comply with the judge's order. A DHS spokesperson said in part, quote, "The facts of this case have not changed. Olivia Andre is an adult illegal alien with a final order of removal and no right to remain in the United States. Despite receiving full due process, this activist judge is releasing an illegal alien onto American streets, end quote. In other news, a man was arrested and charged with murder on Thursday for a homicide that occurred nearly 4 decades ago. According to Maine State Police, Alice Hawks was found dead on October 4th, 1987 in a Westbrook apartment that she shared with her boyfriend, Stephen Bouchard. While her death was quickly ruled a homicide, the case eventually went cold. The case continued to be reviewed by detectives over the years. Then last year, a division within the Maine State Police initiated a full reinvestigation of her case, leading to a decision by the Maine Attorney General's office to seek a murder charge against Bouchard. Friday afternoon, State Police says the now 63-year-old of Winslow has been arrested for allegedly killing Hawks. State Police says he was taken to Cumberland County Jail, where he will be arraigned in the near future. In other news, it's the time of the year when political ads for or against candidates are being seen everywhere. But how effective are they for the candidates themselves? Well, according to UMaine professor and political expert Mark Brewer, while TV advertising is expensive, it does provide candidates an opportunity to get their message out to a large audience. He also says targeted ads online based on their research has increased over the years.
You have to be careful in a ranked choice setting, more careful than you would be in a normal, single member or plurality winner type of model.
He also says broadcast television ads is still a direct way to meet the largest number and broadest variety of voters. Meanwhile, the National Republican Congressional Committee has released what's called an internal battleground polling for Maine's 2nd congressional district. They say it offers an early snapshot ahead of the general election. According to the NRCC, former Governor Paul LePage currently has a 10-point lead against Democrat candidates Joe Baldacci and Matt Dunlap. The GOP leads the generic ballot 48% to 41%, and the Democrat Party has a negative 31% net favorability. The NRCC says they surveyed likely general election voters in Maine's 2nd congressional district. They also say this is the first time they've publicly released this data during this election cycle. Well, today officially marks 30 days until the primary election on June 9th, and absentee voting is getting underway statewide starting tomorrow. The Secretary of State's office says in-person absentee voting begins Monday in Maine. Any Maine voter may choose to vote absentee, whether in person at their town or city hall or at home. Ballots may be requested online. Once a request is submitted, voters can track the process of that request and their ballot online as well. State law requires that absentee ballots be available 30 days before an election or for in-person absentee voting. Absentee voters will have until June 4th to fill out their ballots. All right, folks, still to come here on Fox 22 News at 10. Evacuations are underway for those affected by the hantavirus outbreak on a luxury cruise ship. We'll have more details on that. And later on, our Alex Schley will share with us how one business is fighting against counterfeit money. Those stories and more as Fox 22 News at 10 continues.
Need a safe and caring place for your loved one during the day? At the Merchant Center Adult Day program, we provide a supportive environment where adults can enjoy companionship, engaging activities, and personalized care in a setting that feels like home. Our experienced staff is committed to meeting each person's unique needs while promoting independence, dignity, and overall well-being. Families can feel confident knowing their loved ones are in compassionate, capable hands.
Is that a compression nut?
Oh!
We got a duct taper.
I was barricaded at the Capitol on January 6th. I saw it firsthand. I'm Jordan Wood. We can't go back to a broken system. I can't stand idly by as Trump rips away healthcare. ICE is terrorizing our streets, and billionaires buy elections. I spent my career defending democracy from election deniers and fighting corporate PACs. We need to take on Trump, beat Paul LePage, and finally deliver Medicare for all. I'm Jordan Wood. I approve this message.
When the morning light hits Maine, start your day with good morning, Maine. Craig Coulson, Janessa Bishop, by your side, bringing the stories that matter statewide. Local news and the forecast ahead. Wake up informed, ready to go on ABC 7 and Fox 22.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We turn now to some national headlines. Dozens of cruise goers affected by the hantavirus outbreak are being flown back to their home countries. Americans on board the ship will soon arrive at a quarantine center in Nebraska. Fox News correspondent CB Cotton has a story.
I mean, this is a virus we know pretty well, so it's not like COVID where it was a new virus and we didn't really understand how it interacted with humans.
Evacuations are underway for those affected by the hantavirus outbreak on a luxury cruise ship that is now docked in the Canary Islands. The first passengers evacuated have arrived in Madrid and will be taken to a military hospital. An expert with the World Health Organization says they are recommending weeks of active medical follow-up.
Our recommendations are that everyone who goes back to their home country is followed up with active follow-up for 42 days. This would include checks, health checks by authorities, and either be quarantined at home or quarantined in a medical facility.
More than a dozen Americans are headed to the National Quarantine Unit in Omaha, Nebraska. Nebraska Senator Pete Ricketts says the quarantine unit has dealt with COVID and Ebola and is fully equipped to deal with the hantavirus too. ABC News reports the CDC will not mandate the remaining Americans to quarantine at the facility.
I would leave that up to some of the experts at University of Nebraska Medical Center to determine whether or not they can quarantine safely at home. Obviously, that's going to be more comfortable for them, but if they need to do the quarantine here, I guarantee you we'll do a good job of taking care of them.
Repatriation flights are expected to continue through Monday for passengers and crew members still on board. In New York, CB Cotton, Fox News.
Next, Iran says it has responded to a U.S. peace proposal. President Trump on Truth Social today, calling the response, quote, totally unacceptable. Fox News chief foreign correspondent Trey Yingst has more from Tel Aviv, Israel.
Iran has responded to the U.S. proposal. According to state media, the key issue of the country's nuclear program was not discussed, according to outlets that said the Iranian delegation gave that response to the Pakistanis. Now, this does come after another attack occurred this morning against a cargo ship off the coast of Qatar. An unknown projectile hit the vessel 23 nautical miles northeast of Doha, according to the UK Maritime Agency. The explosion did cause a small fire, but it is under control, according to reports. That incident highlights the latest in a series of events in the Persian Gulf and Strait of Hormuz that show Iran is testing the fragile ceasefire.
From our perspective, a naval blockade is considered a military act, and a military act receives a military response. Let them understand this. From now on, they should assign several additional escorts to their destroyers so that if one of them starts sinking, they can at least rescue and evacuate their naval forces.
While the region waits to see how Iran will respond in what capacity to that U.S. proposal to end the war, President Trump shared a series of AI images overnight depicting Iran's navy at the bottom of the sea. President Trump was asked over the weekend about the expected Iranian response, saying this.
Do you think they're slow rolling it? Do you think they're intentionally slow rolling the process?
We'll find out soon enough.
We're also tracking developments out of Gaza, where Hamas has already passed a deadline where they were supposed to lay down their arms. An advisor to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke on the issue to Fox News earlier today.
Our estimation is there are many, many tens of thousands of AK-47s still in Gaza. And AK-47 is not light weapons. Those are the weapons of choice for how you murder a population. That's what murdered our population. That's what keeps their population under thumb. And so we'll need to verify all of this.
The bottom line here, Iranian proxies remain active, and the Iranian regime is still attacking Gulf countries. Both the UAE and Kuwait earlier today reported Iranian drones over their skies.
That was Trey Yingst reporting. Next, Russian President Vladimir Putin says the war with Ukraine may be coming to an end. Fox News correspondent Stephanie Bennett has the details.
The Russian president didn't elaborate, but told reporters that he believes this war is coming to an end.
President Vladimir Putin made the comments after a scaled-back Victory Day parade Saturday in Moscow's Red Square. Russian officials citing the current operational situation, meaning for the first time in 20 years, the usual rows of tanks and ballistic missile carriers were absent. The annual parade commemorates the end of World War II, but Putin used his speech to justify his war in Ukraine and denounce NATO, saying victory has always been and will be ours. However, additional security measures were put in place amid fears of a surprise Ukrainian attack as Kyiv's drones continue striking deeper inside Russia.
Putin's got to feel the military pain in order to get to a ceasefire in this war, which I'm afraid is a long way off. And I'm glad to see Ukraine stepping up to this. And I think that's why we saw this really scaled back parade in Moscow. Putin does not have much to celebrate.
For the first time, North Korean soldiers marched in the parade, highlighting growing ties with Pyongyang and its deployment of troops to support Russia's war effort. Ahead of the parade, Russia and Ukraine agreed to a U.S.-brokered weekend ceasefire. President Donald Trump said it would run until Monday, along with exchanging 1,000 prisoners each. However, both sides have reported violations, seeing several strikes and casualties in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, broader efforts to end the war remain stalled. A Kremlin spokesperson says talks can continue, but Moscow still demands that Kyiv withdraws all of its troops from Ukraine's eastern Donbass region. In London, Stephanie Bennett, Fox News.
All right, folks, still to come here on Fox 22 News at 10. A Lemoyne woman stopped an unattended car circling in the middle of the road. Our Callie Warren spoke with her and has a story. And later, from Husson to UMaine and more, we'll have these sights and sounds from local college graduations. Those stories, weather, sports, the weekend review, and more here on Fox 22 News at 10.
I'm Owen McCarthy, running for governor. Here's why they say I can't win. Not a politician. I'm an engineer, business builder, and problem solver. Augusta, they don't do problem solving. No famous last name. Yeah, I'm the son of a logger and a lunch lady from north of Augusta. Plan is too detailed. My plan makes Maine affordable for working people. They say it's too smart for politicians to understand. Too nice. Yeah, I'm not an asshole. I'm Owen McCarthy. Let's prove him wrong.
In Maine, your pavement takes a beating. That's why Sturgis Construction does it right, from the ground up, specializing in asphalt paving, seal coating, and site prep. We build surfaces designed to handle harsh winters, heavy use, and everything in between. Whether it's a residential driveway or commercial lot, we deliver a finish that lasts. Protection, performance, professional results. Sturgis Construction. Asphalt done right.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
Happy Mother's Day from Fox 22.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Police are warning shoppers and store owners to keep an eye out for counterfeit money, with Bangor area stores reporting an uptick in the use over the past couple of years. Alex Schley tells us how one local business is deterring the use.
Some Bangor business owners say counterfeit money has become a growing problem.
We came across one 20 minutes ago.
At Price's Corner Store, employees have started displaying the fake bills they've collected.
It was more like a warning, you know, like to people coming in, hey, this is around, and then also, please don't pass it here.
Employees say they've seen everything from fake $2 bills to counterfeit $100 notes. They say many fake bills are labeled, quote, for motion picture purposes.
I don't know where they're getting it from, but it is movie prop money. and that looks good enough for the movies, so it gets by some people.
While others are often missing security features found in legitimate U.S. currency.
Rigid edge on their collar.
An individual who asked not to be identified, but who's familiar with the use of counterfeit money, told ABC7 and Fox 22 most of the fake currency is purchased online. Police say the issue doesn't just impact businesses. Customers also need to pay close attention to the cash they receive back in everyday transactions.
People that don't know that they're in possession of it, and we deal with that accordingly depending on what the facts and circumstances are.
You try not to blame the person, because sometimes it's not their fault, but it is our job to take it, make sure it doesn't get passed back around.
Officials say if you come into possession of counterfeit money, don't try to spend it.
You might get some through, but you're just going to hurt people. This is a family business, and I've been with them for a while. They've treated us amazing. All my coworkers, we love each other, so it feels like you are taking out of our pocket, We have compassion. Just please, don't steal. It just feels like a little bit of a knife in the back at times.
In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Attention Waterville area travelers. The Maine Department of Transportation will be closing the Taconic Bridge in Waterville later this month. It will be closed to traffic starting May 26th and will remain closed until June 29th. The DOT will be working on the bridge replacement project. Detours will be set up to help pedestrians and vehicles get where they need to go safely. Well, from one transportation story to another, the Waldo Community Action Partners and Motive Care are collaborating to give better access to Maine Care members seeking non-emergency transportation in Region 5. Region 5 covers Waldo, Knox, Lincoln, and Saginaw counties, as well as the cities of Brunswick and Harpswell in Cumberland County. Motive Care is the non-emergency transportation provider for Maine Care and its members. Officials say the partnership between Waldo CAP and Motive Care is designed to support Maine Care members while remaining accountable to Maine DHHS standards. In other news, Republican David Jones is hoping to become Maine's next governor. Yesterday, he and volunteers teamed up for a community cleanup in the city of Lewiston. Groups included Rubbish Doctor and Town Farm Recovery's Barriers to Bridges joined the cleanup. Jones believes cleanup efforts like this one make a visible difference.
Mainers care. We care. We love our state. We want it to be great. And they're here, spending their Saturday cleaning up other people's debris.
The Jones campaign says it's an initiative prioritizing public safety by taking action in priority areas that needed a fixing up. Next, a Lemoyne woman is being hailed as a hero after stopping an unattended vehicle that accidentally ended up in the middle of a major road. Our Kelly Warren has the story.
When Tracy Weed isn't here behind the counter at Hancock Grocery or saving lives as a member of 2 local volunteer fire departments, you might be able to find her in one of her other jobs, which is being a hometown hero.
It was a cute little car. I didn't want to see it get damaged or anybody else get hurt, and it was stopping traffic on both sides of the road.
Tracy was driving along Route 1 when a classic car circling the road backwards nearly hit her vehicle. When some would have panicked or kept on driving, she stepped in to stop the vehicle and save others from danger.
At first, I know the gentleman who owns that car, and at first I was thinking, I hope his little boy isn't in the back seat. That was my initial thought. Mama Mode poked in, and I just ran for the car and stopped it.
Luckily, nobody was inside and no one was harmed. A local towing company caught the incident on their security camera and the story spread.
Oh, no, that was an adrenaline rush that I wasn't quite used to having, but
it's become quite the talk of the town.
No, I jumped into the moving car with nobody driving it.
But above all, she remains humble.
I don't know. If you think you can do it, do it. I guess that would be my advice to somebody.
Callie Warren reporting for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
All right, folks, after the break, the weekend review. What stories made the list? Find out next.
What animal suggested this image? I mean, we all know the answer, except for that one guy.
Who will be part of the 1% Club? Only Mondays on Fox.
What does Graham Plattner think of rural Mainers? He calls them stupid and racist. And Plattner called some Maine lobstermen drug-addicted pieces of shit. That's the real Graham Plattner. Pine Tree Results Pack is responsible for the content of this advertising.
You can't see third-hand smoke, but you may smell it. Third-hand smoke is toxic chemicals left behind by smoking and vaping. These chemicals stick to surfaces in your home and car and linger for years. They're on floors, furniture, toys. Everywhere children and pets touch and play. What you can't see can still cause harm. Protect your family from third-hand smoke. Visit MaineQuitLink.com to learn the risks.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Thousands of kids like Caroline receive life-changing care at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center each year, the only full-service pediatric program north of Portland. You can help support them by joining the Summer Classic for Maine Kids Golf Tournament, happening July 31st at Bangor Municipal Golf Course. Benefiting the Children's Miracle Network at Eastern Maine Medical Center, every dollar raised supports pediatric care today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Ready to tee up for a great cause? Visit northernlight.org/4kids to learn more and register today.
Graham Plattner blames Maine's women for getting raped because he says they get up drunk. And Plattner bragged about having a Nazi tattoo on his chest. That's the real Graham Plattner. Pine Tree Results Pack is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Welcome back and welcome into our weekend show segment, The Weekend Review, where each Saturday and Sunday we take suggestions to stories here at ABC 7 and Fox 22, ranging from breaking news to feel-good features that stood out to you during our weekday and air them in its entirety. First, for the second time in 6 months, a Penobscot County community is without a town manager. After less than 2 months on the job, Lincoln's Town Council voted this past Monday to fire its town manager. Alex Sly spoke with both sides and has more on what they say led up to the decision.
In a 4-3 vote Monday, Lincoln Town Council fired town manager Dennis Bolin.
Personally, I don't think he was given enough time to prove himself.
Bolin was appointed to the position on March 10th. Prior to that, he worked for the town of Lincoln for more than a decade.
I started out on the rec crew, the cemeteries and parks landscaping crew. I left there, went to the transfer station. I left the transfer station, went to Public Works, and then was the town manager.
Monday's decision came just 6 days before the end of Bolin's probationary period. Bolin says he believes that the council's decision was a direct response to choices he made that he felt were in the best interest of residents.
There was a request to take on a private road as a town way. We're trying to trim the budget, and taking on more roads is going in the opposite direction. It was a friend of one of the town councilors who was making this request. It didn't go over well.
Bolin also says he did not want to, quote, clean house and fire people.
And I was told by the council that I shouldn't advocate for employees, which I strongly disagree with. Who's going to advocate for them other than me? I'm the top supervisor as town manager, and I certainly want to advocate for employees, or the betterment of employees.
Council Chair Stephen Clay says the budget concerns were a key factor in the decision.
He was looking at it, and this is from our conversations only, he didn't feel like many personnel could be cut. He didn't ever say that he wasn't going to try to cut the budget. He just said he didn't think it could be in personnel.
Clay says the council now hopes to have an interim town manager in place by next Monday's council meeting. In Lincoln, Alex Sly for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Next, a very tiny creature is causing a great deal of damage to some of Maine's spruce and fir trees. Our Callie Warren visited a UMaine lab where they're working to control them.
These little guys may seem small and unassuming, but the damage that they can do to Maine's spruce and fir trees is massive.
So spruce budworm is a native pest, but every about 40 years it explodes in population densities, and when it does that, our spruce and fir kind of pay the price. The outbreaks usually last 10 to 15 years, so they basically can annihilate spruce and fir forest during that time.
The most recent spruce budworm population boost was in 2023 and 2024. Before that, there was one in the 1970s. And with such microscopic insects being capable of widespread devastation, humane students and scientists are developing solutions to save the trees. They're monitoring forests and counting larvae.
Near the Quebec border, the Fort Kent area.
And controlling populations with a biodegradable, eco-friendly pesticide.
Let's keep Maine's forests healthy, and that early intervention strategy is really our best way to do that.
The researchers take 3,000 branch samples from 1,000 areas, process and filter them, and then study the microscopic larvae to get a population count. And it shows that those treatment strategies have been successful. Thanks to Federal Forest Service funding, this research and rescue for Maine forests can continue on.
Yeah, it's cool also to see the real implication. It feels historical. It feels important. And that's very motivating for us in the lab.
In Orono, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Finally, this past Tuesday was Cinco de Mayo, and what better way to celebrate than a classic guacamole contest? That was the scene at the Ellsworth High School cafeteria last Tuesday as students and staff faced off in an annual competition. Our Grace Blanchard was there and has a story.
It was a battle of the guacs between students and staff at Ellsworth High School.
Today is our 4th annual guacamole making contest in honor of Cinco de Mayo.
The competition consisted of 6 contestants, all with a unique take on the classic Mexican dish.
We invite the students to create their own guacamole recipe or use whichever one they want.
The recipes are then taste tested by the panel of judges comprised of staff and a 4th-year Spanish student. But what exactly are they looking for?
On the rubric, it's things like taste, texture, presentation, and overall flavor.
The competition was started by Spanish teacher Carrie Cutney as a way to engage students in the holiday and expose them to cultural activities.
I think culture is a huge thing. Exposing them with different flavors. Some of these kids have not maybe had guacamole before, and now maybe they try it.
Of course, there could only be one winner, which was EHS junior Jerry Hardy. Cutney says they're walking away with much more than a gift card.
Food is always a source of joy for kids across all cultures, and I hope that they take out that, it's always a good thing to try new foods and learn about new cultures and do different things.
In Ellsworth, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And as the Weekend Review segment continues, we like you at home to be a part of it. Didn't see a story you thought should have been included? Well, then email us throughout the week at weekendreview@wvii.com with what stories during the past week made an impact or stood out to you. Tune in again next Saturday night here on Fox 22 News at 10 for a new slate of local stories. All right, folks, Chase Ropanak is in next with our full 5-day forecast.
Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers watching. Hopefully you received some flowers out there for today, and we got spring-like weather in the area. Temperatures have been a little bit below average. Will we see those temperatures jump throughout much of this week? We'll have those answers coming right up.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Everyone deserves to be connected. Big cities, small towns, everywhere in between. And staying connected shouldn't break the bank. That's why T-Mobile and US Cellular have joined forces. And now that we've combined networks, T-Mobile covers more places than ever before. America's best network just got bigger. Join now and your plan price is guaranteed for 5 years. T-Mobile and US Cellular, better together.
Don't know what I'm doing. What's a manometer? Man-eater. Manometer. Let's do this. Help! Send someone. I can't do this anymore. Is this supposed to make that noise?
Definitely not, but we can fix it.
Okay.
Come home to the kitchen of your dreams. At Atlantic Designs, we redefine kitchen spaces, turning your dreams into reality. Our experienced designers ensure you get a stunning new kitchen while bringing function and style to every corner. Whether you're on a tight budget or ready to splurge, we've got the perfect plan for you. Your dream kitchen is closer than you think. So contact Atlantic Designs today and start the process. Your dream kitchen awaits with the kitchen people at Atlantic Designs.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Where's football? Release the ball. Let's get it on!
You're making me nervous.
It's Cash or Splash.
The Quiz with Balls, all new Mondays on Fox.
Thank you very much for today. Temperature is pretty close to average here in Bangor. We saw low 60s while our coastline did stay a bit cooler with that gusty south wind, mid 50s for you. But if you did head down to the southwestern portion of State Sanford, almost near 74 today, 69 for you with a mixture of some upper 50s further north. Greenville at 55 for today, but 59 in Millinocket, 58 in Holton out there. For tonight, a lot of us will see temperatures drop as this front is going to be sagging down to the south. You'll see the warmest temperatures along your coastline for tonight, mid 40s for you just north in Bangor, low 40s that can exist in the Monson, Millinocket, but don't rule out those 30s you'll see further north into the Clayton Lake and Caribou region for tonight. Now tomorrow, looks like the Bangor, coastal, and eastern regions are going to see the warmest temperatures right around those upper 50s, low 60s once again, just like we were out there for today. But as you see to the west, you'll see the more effects of that cold front, much cooler for you. Some of you could be hanging out in the 40s for tomorrow. So that average high this time of year now in the mid 60s, 64 degrees to be exact. Still going to be a little bit below average throughout much of this week. We'll still get close. A lot of those days in the upper 50s and low 60s. You'll see the coolest day being Thursday, right around 53 degrees. Another day with a lot of cloud cover and showers expected for your Thursday. But temperatures do go up after that into your weekend. Both days, Saturday and Sunday, looking to be right at average at 64 degrees then. So we still have the early spring-like weather in the area, but don't worry, we are going to warm up throughout the month of May. We're seeing out there for wind gusts right now. Winds are going to stay light throughout tonight, maybe a west breeze right around 5 to 15 miles per hour. More wind as you head further north again. We're going to feel a little bit cooler for tomorrow. As we go into tomorrow night again, those winds will lighten up once again throughout Monday night into your Tuesday. So here we are for tonight. We had a few showers out there for today, a few rumbles of thunder as well. But for tonight, most of this is going to be out of here as we see clearing skies. There's that cloud cover hanging out right along your coastline. That is the front that is moving off to the east as well, but still a little bit of low pressure spinning on the backside of this can throw a few showers our way. So not out of it completely just yet. But again, many of us will stay dry, most likely just sprinkles for tomorrow. As we get into your Tuesday, we'll see cloud cover resurge again during the day. Partly cloudy, some areas, some pockets of sunshine, but more cloud cover, keeping you cooler up north. This will drop us back into the 50s, but don't worry, we'll have some more 60s further along the way. So for tonight, we got low 40s out there, partly cloudy skies. That rain has now ended. Areas of dense fog are likely for tonight. West winds right around 5 miles per hour. For tomorrow, you're seeing highs back near 60. A few showers can occur further north of town. Maybe some sprinkles making their way into Bangor. Otherwise, many of us staying dry with that west wind, just a little breezy, right around 5 to 15 miles per hour to start off your work week on Monday. So here's a look at your extended forecast. A bit cooler on Tuesday, mid to upper 50s then. Back in the low 60s with plenty of sunshine Wednesday, but we will see increasing cloud cover into Wednesday night and a chance for showers that will continue into Thursday. Lots of widespread showers then. Maybe some lingering showers Friday. Otherwise, we'll stay dry with highs in the mid to upper 50s.
Good to know, Chase. Thank you. Folks, the Red Sox lost to the Tampa Bay Rays today 4-1 in a Mother's Day battle at Fenway Park. But Husky University baseball and softball fared much better this weekend. Our next term will have championship highlights and more in sports right after the break.
Your call is important to us.
You've heard this before, too many times. Tired of being customer 45978? Yeah, we would be too. Speed means fast uploads, no lag, and zero buffering. But it also means calling you back, showing up on time, and treating you like a person, not a problem. So whether you're working, streaming, gaming, or all three, it is time to make the switch to a provider that actually tries. Go NetSpeed. Service isn't dead. It just moved local.
Need a safe and caring place for your loved one during the day? At the Merchant Center Adult Day program, we provide a supportive environment where adults can enjoy companionship, engaging activities, and personalized care in a setting that feels like home. Our experienced staff is committed to meeting each person's unique needs while promoting independence, dignity, and overall well-being. Families can feel confident knowing their loved ones are in compassionate, capable hands.
Actual 5-star reviews of Bob's Treasure Mattress, performed by 5 stars.
If you're an early riser and have important places to be, do not buy this bed. It's too comfortable. It puts me in the most deepest sleep. Daddy hits snooze and I'm late every day.
I fear I may be reprimanded by my employer. And bed too perfect is not a good excuse.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh my God! Bob's Discount Furniture.
This season of Farmer Wants a Wife has more drama than ever.
You told me that you weren't bringing homegirl back to the farm, and then you told her you're bringing her back.
Farmer Wants a Wife, Tuesday on Fox.
Welcome back in, folks. We've got a heavy block in store for you. And we'll begin with Husson and the baseball team who played Thomas in the NAC title game on Saturday. Thomas looking to break the Eagles' 5-year title streak. The Eagles keep Thomas scoreless in the first as Cameron Dell catches the ball at first for the out. In the bottom of the first, Husson would be the first on the board when Matt Holmes hits this one into right field. Thomas fumbles it, and Colin Marshall walks it in. Then Liam Kelly hits one, and he's going to be thrown out on this next play with a 1-0 lead, but Preston Libby finds his way around the bases to make it 2-0 Eagles early on in this game. In the 6th inning, Husson with a 3-1 lead. Jeremy Spencer, this one goes all the way down the middle, and his guys Gavin Clark and a Jay Rychek get home to tie it up at 3. But in the bottom of the frame, Marshall's hit sends Henry Lauser home for the tie-breaking run, and the Eagles would hold on, and they win their 6th straight championship by a score of 4-3. I caught up with Marshall and Kelly after the game to talk about their nail-biting title win.
It feels great. I mean, it feels great to play with this team. From day one, they showed me how to play baseball here, and it just feels great to come here and win a championship.
That's just a standard around here nowadays. You know, we come in the fall, work hard every day, and that's the result.
We turn now to softball, the same two teams, same trophy on the line. I had battery issues and hoped I wouldn't miss much at the beginning. Boy, was I naive. This one opens up with Emily Dunbar hitting it deep. Lydia Rice and Morgan Tainter make it home to make it 2-0 Eagles. In the 2nd inning, Tainter at bat now, and she's going to slam this one. And again for her, it will be 2 RBIs as Cameron King and Morgan Curtis run it in. 5-0 Eagles at this point. They would score 6 in the 2nd inning alone, highlighted by this deep hit from Jetta Shook. And it nearly gets out of the park, but it does send Sydney Carnes and Rice home to make it 8-0. It was more of the same in the 3rd. Tainter's hit sends Curtis home, and they'd keep on coming as the Eagles win 18-0 in 5 innings, and their 8th straight NAC title. I tracked down King and pitcher Anna Lane to get their reactions to this historic win.
It's a good feeling. It's always refreshing to see the people that come in, especially the freshmen, to get their first NAC, and we know what's next from here on out.
Everyone has super clutch hitting. Our freshmen did great. Our defense held up super well. Thank you. Had a little no-no.
The New England Patriots hosted their rookie minicamp over the weekend, and they took time to introduce their first-round draft pick to the media beforehand. Caleb Lomo, a 6'6", 21-year-old tackle out of Utah. Lomo started 2 years for the Utes and is projected to start as a swing tackle for the Patriots behind Will Campbell and Morgan Moses. During his press conference, Lomo shared a story about his flight from Phoenix to Boston. Said it was special to him for multiple reasons. Not only his first ever flight to Boston, but it turns out his uncle was the pilot.
Texted my mom about the day before, so 2 days ago, and he was like, hey, what flight is Caleb on? You know, I just got assigned to this last-minute flight to Boston, so ended up being the exact same flight. And so I got on the flight, and he's the type of uncle to where he's going to embarrass you a little bit. And so I knew he was coming, so my family told me, you know, film it. And so I got on the plane. I was kind of just waiting, and then, of course, he got on the intercom, started talking. And then he actually I thought he was going to just talk about me, but he brought me up to the front.
Finally, bringing it back to the diamond, a month and a half into the baseball season, and Major League Baseball's automatic ball strike challenge system is having an effect on and off the field. Fox News correspondent Nate Foy reports.
Only pitchers, catchers, and batters can use the automatic ball strike system. Catchers and batters have used it more than 1,000 times each, but pitchers just 44 times. And longtime Major League manager Buck Showalter says that makes sense.
Pitchers don't challenge as much because their inaccuracy comes from the fact that, you know, they're pretty violent down the hill. A lot of their head is moving. A lot of them don't see the ball actually enter the zone, you know, from a still standpoint. They're moving, where the catcher and the hitter, for the most part, are pretty stationary.
And the system has made a difference. Through early May, 53% of challenges have been successful, meaning the original call was overturned. Vince Gennaro, host of SiriusXM's Behind the Numbers, Baseball Saber Style, says it's also had another effect.
Once there's a challenge, everybody directs their attention to the big screen if you're at the stadium or on your TV or streaming device to see what happens. And within seconds, you get the big reveal. And it's a fan engagement moment.
I just look at it through a fan standpoint, and that's really why we're all here. Anything that enhances their love of the game and helps the entertainment factor, and they know that their team's going to get, you know, a fair shake.
Games this year played in non-Major League ballparks are not using ABS because they don't have the infrastructure for it, including the 2-game Mexico City series in April, the Field of Dreams game, and the Little League Classic in August. In New York, Nate Foy, Fox News.
That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Hi, Butch Robichaud from J&J Auto Salvage. Yep, been here 40 years, retiring this year. Turning the reins over to Anthony and the boys. Hope to serve you for another 40 years. The next time you're thinking about saving money on your car, give us a call. We got fenders, doors, motors, transmissions, you name it, whatever it is, we have it. We're down on the Brewer Lake Road. Everything we sell carries a 90-day warranty. And don't forget, best attitude in the business.
Aggravated assault, cocaine possession, endangering a child. These are just some of the crimes committed by illegal immigrants in Maine. President Trump deported all these criminal aliens. As governor, Garrett Mason will fight alongside President Trump, standing tough on illegal immigration, supporting law enforcement, and putting the safety of Maine families first. Garrett Mason will deport dangerous criminals. He'll keep Maine families safe. We have strong leadership in Washington. It's time Maine did too.
Honey, where's the countertop?
I sent it out to the granite shop this morning to be replaced.
Wow. The quickest turnaround in the business. The Granite Shop in Sedgwick.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snow blowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
In Maine, we're proud that our elections are free, safe, and secure. Maine uses paper ballots, the gold standard in election security.
Absentee ballots are tracked from the moment your local town clerk mails it to you.
And then they match it to your information when you return it.
And the tabulators used to count all ballots?
They can't be hacked.
Because they are never connected to the internet.
Mainers are known for making their voices heard.
Make sure your voice is heard on June 9th.
Brought to you by this station, the Maine Association of Broadcasters, and the Office of the Secretary of State.
Your goal is to put items in the correct order before, in between, definitely after.
This is The Perfect Line. Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. A memorable moment along the Cape Cod Canal today as Maine Maritime Academy's new training ship, State of Maine, passed Massachusetts Maritime Academy's ship, Patriot State, moored at the campus. The moment was captured on video and shared on the Maine Maritime Academy Facebook page. The state of Maine officially got underway on the first leg of the 2026 summer sea term yesterday afternoon, departing from Portland Harbor. According to the Academy's Facebook post, cadets manned the rail as the two sister ships exchanged whistle signals, while families gathered along the canal bank, waving signs and cheering on the cadets. It was described as a special moment between two training ships, both carrying on the same mission of preparing the next generation of mariners. The state of Maine is bound for Galveston, Texas. To college graduations now, hard work and dedication came to fruition on Friday for Eastern Maine Community College graduates. School officials say 507 students officially graduated from the community college on Friday in a ceremony held at the Cross Insurance Center. The school's new president, Dr. Julius Edwards, delivered his first commencement address and spoke with us about how proud he is of his students.
For individuals who've taken 1 to sometimes 8 years to reach their academic achievement and to have their family and friends around them just congratulating, celebrating their accomplishments, it's the best energy you can have. It's the best day of the year for me. So.
Edwards took over as EMCC's new president on April 1st. Next, hundreds of students finished their degrees yesterday, completing their academic journeys as Husson University's class of 2026. Our Callie Warren has the sights and sounds from Husson's 127th commencement ceremony.
We have 729 very proud graduates who will be earning 806 degrees today at the Cross Insurance Center. This is a tremendously rewarding day. It's the efforts of all of our students' hard work and sacrifice, the pride they feel, and recognizing that they're finally walking across the finish line and earning their degree, and they are ready to change the world.
I'm getting my bachelor's of criminal justice, and I'm getting my master's in criminal justice and business administration. And this was just such a community that fostered positivity and growth as a human, professionally and personally. So it's coming to a close. This chapter ending really does put such a soft spot in my heart. But knowing that the entire world's open for me is really, really exciting, and I just have Husson to thank for all of the opportunities that I'm getting.
I feel inspired. I always feel inspired by the young generation. The sense of vigor and promise and opportunity is just a wonderful experience. And my message to them is find what you love and follow it.
And finally, at University of Maine's 224th undergraduate commencement ceremonies yesterday, thousands of students walked the stage and received their degrees. Our Callie Warren was also there and has a story.
I really do bleed blue, but I know that doesn't end here, and I'm excited to see what my next chapter of being a black bear looks like. It really does feel like the beginning of something else. It doesn't feel like the end. I think this community has such a connection that continues post-graduation. I mean, if you're a black bear, you are truly a black bear for life.
It's just an amazing feeling. I mean, it's hard to describe because, you're here for 4 years, you make so many friends. It's all built up to this day.
So I think it was really scary coming across the country from Texas to come here, and I was really scared, and I think I would tell myself to trust the process because I really leaned into that, especially after my first semester, and I think that's what got me here. It's pretty remarkable what you do in these 4 years and how much you grow as a person in university.
I'm from Ukraine. I came to Maine about 6 years ago. I did high school here. It's a combination of a decent period of life. It's a wonderful experience. I am very grateful for the University of Maine for everything they've done.
That is all we have for tonight. I'm Doug Banks, and for everyone here at Fox 22 News at 10, thank you for watching. We'll be back here tomorrow morning. Hopefully you are too. Until then, take care, good night, and happy Mother's Day.
What's up, guys? What I'm about to show you is going to change the way you shave your head forever.
You can shave your head in 90 seconds or less with no cuts or nicks.
Introducing Remington's new and improved Balder Boss. With increased flex and 5 dual-track floating head design, get over 60% more head coverage for a faster, closer shave and skin-close results. And only through this exclusive TV offer, now you can try it in your home for 30 days for just $14.99. Balder Boss is the fast, easy, safe way to shave your head, wet or dry, in 90 seconds or less, without nicks or cuts.
No nicks, no scrapes, fit in the palm of my hand, and the results were amazing.
The 360-degree pivoting neck contours closely around your head curves for maximum contact, anytime, anywhere, in 90 seconds or less. With exclusive Wet Tech technology, shave in the shower, or with any foam or gel. Japanese-grade steel blades and turbo power plow through the thickest of hair, yet gentle enough it won't irritate skin. With pure lithium power that lasts up to an incredible 60 minutes. That's like 1 full month of use without a recharge. Then easily rinses clean. There's even a pop-up trimmer to complete your perfect groom. Now you can try the Remington Balder Boss in your home for 30 days for just $14.99. But wait, order now and we'll ship it to you absolutely free. You can also get our ear, nose, and brow